Soul School. Tonight, we salute the CHIC organization, Nile Rodgers, Bernard Edwards, Lucy Martin, Alpha Anderson, Tony Thompson, Luther Vandross, of course, probably didn't know that. The news is seriously bad, and I think I'm going to let you start it because I have so much information up here, it's going to mangle and mumble over there if I try to start this.
Yeah, they were, very instrumental, especially because they came up in the disco era, and they made their mark. They came across very GQ, very stylish in their appearance. But I think what separated them with a lot of groups is they were heavy on the strings, but they also brought the strings they just didn't use that in the studio. I mean, when they performed live, they brought that with them. They had their string room, players up on stage with them, which brought a different element. And I've seen them perform several times, and as headliners with a lot of other major groups, and they always held up their own, performing.
Yeah, I think of them greatly as producers, and I think of some of the Sister Sledge stuff that they've done, like this playing in the background, We Are Family. For me, that song, being in LA at that time, if there was ever going to be a song to replace My Girl as the R&B national anthem, you would definitely have to say it's We Are Family, and that was done by the CHIC organization. Diana Ross, the one album by her besides the Mahogany album that I do like, is the one that they produced, which featured Upside Down. And if there's any doubt about their ability as musicians, listen to some of the drum breaks that Tony Thompson is doing on I'm Coming Out, and that's funk at its highest level. That like you said, at the same level of class and elegance, because usually you have one group that'll have it in this area, but that won't have it in that area, but every walk of life that they have, that they had was basically there. And I think of, even like it relates to cartoons, I know this sounds stupid, but savoir-faire is everywhere. I mean, they were serious with it, man.
Yeah, they, very powerful imagery, especially with the fact that, like I said, video was really not a tool to promote your stuff, so they gave you that, they lived it, and it influenced a lot of people, with that style.
Matter of fact, not only did they live it, but I lived it through their music, because at that time, Moms and Pops had went through a separation. We were in Southern Cal. We had just left the Bay Area, getting personal here for a second, and I'm definitely a testament to music calms the savage beast, because CHIC and Earth, Wind & Fire, but especially CHIC at that time, because I Want Your Love had just came out, and that was the second single, I believe, off that album after Le Freak. And something about, I don't know, it's something I really can't explain, but you listen to that stuff over a real system where you can really hear everything, and it definitely mesmerizes you. And something like the samba or somebody playing a real good conga is just something I really can't explain. Maybe a musician can explain it a little bit better, but they had it.
Yeah, I think it's just everybody back in that period of time, and even before that, created their own formula, or their, like I say, of their sound. And like I said, their sound, you hear it on Sister Sledge, you hear it on Diana Ross, and once you have your foundation, then you can take it anywhere you want to and still maintain your your sound.
In fact, we didn't even get into, I think, an area that we both know, but we both neglected to mention, was their influence on Von Mason. Because if you listen to the bass line to Bounce Rock Skate Roll, It's basically a derivative off of Good Times.
Exactly. It was kind of like before really sampling or whatever was the thing. I mean, of course, people did remakes and everything, but it was like, that one, you kind of stayed away from somebody's major hit. I guess that was kind of a unwritten rule, but yeah, Yvonne kind of came. He said, plus that's his only hit, so.
Yeah. And we can't forget about also what happened over there at Sylvia Robinson's Sugar Hill Records, the first real rap record. I mean, rap was out with Blowfly and stuff like that, but Rapper's Delight, they actually went in the studio and actually played Good Times and rapped on top of it. And that was Nile and Bernard's thing, man.
Right.
Matter of fact, they're a perfect example talking about the Sugar Hill Gang here, basically biting off the CHIC, that you can go in the studio and create and actually play your music and actually do your own thing and then actually still be accepted, man, because Rapper's Delight at that time was so big, was so huge, it knocked Knee Deep off the #1 spot. I remember KGFJ in LA because at that time, Ladies Night was really, really big by Kool and the Gang. I think it was a consistent 3. The Fatback Band, King Tim III was really big. Knee Deep was really, really big. And then when Rapper's Delight came with that CHIC sound, they basically just ran everybody out of the area, man.
Right, yeah, that's, one of those things nobody expected or foresaw, the success of that, because like I say, it came from something that had already been kind of done, and people tend to, get.
And youngsters, they played the music.
Yeah, like I said, we always stress that, because it could be done. I think there's part of the resistance is if there's too much change, those who do not want to go along with that program will feel kicked to the curb, because there's just, I think, too, there's so much we know can be done just by playing, that can change the whole game, rap.
Let's get into some more CHIC music and we'll be back. Welcome back to Soul School. Salute to the CHIC organization out of New York, Mal and Bernard. Matter of fact, Bernard Edwards is no longer here with us. He passed away over in Japan not long before Johnny Guitar Watson.
Yeah, I remember vividly because I was at the time was performing San Francisco. I think it was the Fillmore, and there was an announcement, that Bernard had passed right before the time hit the stage. Ironically, that show, can't think of the group, Big Brother Soul was playing, and Bonnie Boyer, who was playing with, played with Prince and everything, dear friend, she performed at that show. So I remember that one vividly.
It's kind of a trip because I got first-hand information. They were over in Japan. I believe it was as Power Station, which was another one of their spin-off groups, or it was as CHIC. And Sonny Emery, the drummer from Earth, Wind & Fire, was playing the gig. And they hadn't seen Bernard since, I believe it was the day before. And, just something didn't feel right. So they had the maid go and unlock his room door, and they found him in there slumped over. So, great loss because he was an awesome bass player. Listen to some of the grooves like on Freak Out and Good Times, man.
Right.
Good Times. That bass pocket is like what you was describing on Indougal for Billie Jean. I mean, it is that bass pocket makes the whole song go.
Right. Yeah. So, he's like I say, not overlook his contributions or his style of playing.
That's why we're here, to break it down.
Let people know. And also got to give Nile Rodgers a lot of credit for his thing, because he kind of reminds me, he puts me in the mind of Clay Smith of Kool and the Gang, because he does this scratching that is just, when you hear it, it's Nile.
Yeah.
And he's, it's kind of easy, but it's still, it's like a hook, that he does.
Great analogy, Clay Smith. A great analogy.
Yeah, so, we have to give him a lot of credit, too.
Matter of fact, they also, the CHIC organization we're speaking on, for those of you who may have just joined the show, deserve an awesome amount of credit for Madonna's success because, in case you don't know, they're the cats who wrote and produced Like a Virgin, and they played all the instruments on that. And we all know how big Madonna had got, because before that, I know she was messing around with Reggie Luke as far as the production and on Borderline and stuff like that. But when Like a Virgin came out, man, there'll never be an era like that again, because you had Michael, Prince, and then Madonna, but they were behind the scenes in the background behind her success.
Right, yes, they just blew her, gave her a sound and blew her, because, she's a, avid lover of R&B music. I think at her concert, she always do a Sly Stone cut.
She closes